Here's your batch. Let's meet back here after we're done. Cool?
Bet.
That was our everyday hustle, splitting up the baked goods, selling them, and meeting at our usual street corner before heading back to the orphanage together. But today felt off. I waited and waited, but Cameron didn't show. My brain went full panic mode. What if something bad had happened to him? I wandered up and down the streets searching everywhere, but he was nowhere to be found. Finally, I headed back to the orphanage to tell the manager. That's when I got slapped with the news. Cameron had been adopted by a wealthy family. How could he just disappear from my life like that? We were literally talking this morning. Oh right, Cameron asked me to give you this. She handed me a letter. I knew that handwriting in a heartbeat. It read, "Wait for me. I promise I'll come back for you." Fast forward 3 years and I can still hear those words in my head like they were said yesterday. Hey, I'm Danielle. I'm 17 now and I'm all about baking. It's my thing. Cameron? He was my best friend. We grew up together at the orphanage until he got adopted by some rich family 3 years ago. We haven't spoken since. A little while after Cameron left, I got lucky too. A sweet couple adopted me when I started helping out at their bakery. They're not rich, but they've got the biggest hearts, and I love them for it. Lately though, the bakery's been struggling. Ever since a fancy new bakery opened across the street, we've lost a ton of customers. Sales are so bad we can barely cover rent or buy ingredients. Watching my foster parents stress out every day is such a big mood, and not in a good way. Danielle, can I get a box of cream puffs, please? On it! Thanks, your pastries are still the best. Oh, by the way, I saw something about a baking competition hosted by MDA. The prize money is huge. You should totally enter. Wait, show me! She pulled up the details. Holy guacamole, the grand prize was $100,000! That would solve all our problems. I didn't even think twice. I signed up on the spot. When the day came, I showed up feeling all kinds of nervous. The venue was already buzzing with contestants. I got in line and started chatting with the others. Then someone stood next to me and I turned to say hi, only to have my face fall. It was Ryder, the son of the bakery owners across the street. Ryder and I, yeah, we're not exactly besties. Every time we meet, it's all snark and sass.
Oh, you're here to compete?
No, I'm here to play patty cake with you. Obviously, I'm competing.
With those burnt pastries that stink up the block?
That was because our oven broke, okay? Right then, the judges walked in and everyone zipped it. But as soon as I saw one of them, my jaw hit the floor. It was Cameron! Cameron scanned the room, his eyes eventually landing on me. My heart practically stopped. But just like that, he looked away like he didn't know me. Seriously? The judges were introduced. Mr. and Mrs. Wilson, the power couple behind MDA Corporation, and Cameron. After introductions, we got to work. I channeled all my energy into creating a baked Alaska. When it was finished, I brought it up to the judges, praying I didn't totally bomb it. One by one, they tasted my dessert. I could barely breathe.
Excellent! The cream inside is perfectly cold. The shell is crisp and the sponge is so soft. Outstanding!
This is the best dessert we've had all morning.
The flavor is unique and very well balanced.
Hearing those words felt like a W for me. No cap. I scored the highest points in that round. I glanced at Cameron hoping for something, anything, but all I got was a polite smile. After the competition, I walked home, my head swirling with questions. Why was Cameron acting like we never met? Had he seriously forgotten his promise? Lost in thought, I didn't even notice the speeding car heading my way until a blaring horn snapped me back to reality. Out of nowhere, someone yanked me out of danger. I looked up. It was Cameron!
You need to watch where you're going, Danielle. You're still as clumsy as ever.
Wait, you remember me?
How could I forget? I couldn't say anything during the competition. Didn't want people thinking you had an unfair advantage. I didn't want that for you.
Relief washed over me as we walked and talked, catching up like old times. Cameron told me about being adopted by the Wilsons and how school had kept him too busy to come back sooner. I filled him in about the bakery and our struggles. He immediately offered to help pay off our debts, but I refused.
All right, but promise me you'll let me help if you need it, okay?
I smiled. Cameron was still the kind-hearted friend I knew. From that day on, Cameron and I talked all the time. He shared tons of creative baking recipes with me and always volunteered to be my taste tester whenever I tried something new. His ideas gave me a fresh perspective for the competition. The contest was halfway through and Ryder and I had consistently been the top 2 contestants. I had to admit, Ryder was a serious competitor. Today's challenge was grabbing our ingredients in 2 minutes. As soon as the bell rang, I bolted to the shelves like my life depended on it. I managed to grab almost everything I needed. except for the rum. Running to the rum section, I saw Ryder standing there. Please don't take the rum. Of course he grabbed the bottle. Son of a biscuit! I turned to head back to my station, but then I saw Ryder set the bottle down and walk off. Without missing a beat, I snatched it. When I glanced at him, he smirked. Wait, did he do that on purpose to help me? And that wasn't all. Later during the challenge, Ryder even helped me open a stubborn jar of jam when I couldn't. After the round, I decided to follow him to thank him. My face was already burning with embarrassment as I approached him. Hey, thanks for your help today.
Wow, I thought you'd ignore me all the way home.
Why'd you help me? I thought you hated me.
Don't think I'm that mean. Besides, I don't hate you. I just like messing with you.
After that, Ryder and I started talking more, and surprisingly, we grew closer. But life at home was spiraling. My dad, desperate to ease our financial strain, had fallen into a loan shark's trap. The debt kept piling up. I was more determined than ever to win this competition. It felt like the only way to save my family. Finally, the competition reached its final round, and it was just me and Ryder. But as soon as I started working on my dish, I realized something was wrong. My batter wasn't rising, and the whipped cream wouldn't stiffen no matter how hard I whipped it. What the fudge was going on? Everything seemed fine when I checked the ingredients with the quality control manager the day before. But now I noticed something strange. The contents of the packages had been swapped with cheap, low-quality substitutes, though the packaging was identical. In the end, I couldn't finish my dish, and Ryder was crowned the champion. I left immediately. My mind was racing with suspicion, so much so that I didn't even notice Cameron walking up beside me.
Danielle, don't beat yourself up.
I think someone sabotaged me. My ingredients were swapped.
Do you suspect anyone? If they wanted to win at any cost, could it be?
No, Ryder wouldn't do that. I know he wouldn't. But as I thought harder, it hit me. The only person with access to the ingredients was the quality control manager. Cameron and I decided to confront her. When we got to her office, we found Ryder talking to her. Cameron pulled me behind a nearby wall to listen.
I told you to swap the ingredients in this pantry.
I'm sorry, I must have mixed them up. So it was Ryder! My heart sank and anger boiled up inside me. I stepped out to confront him. Ryder, why would you do this to me?
Danielle? What are you doing here? Listen, let me explain.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
I actually asked her to swap my ingredients so you could win.
Do I look like a child to you? That excuse is pathetic. Out of respect for what we had as friends, I won't report you. But from now on, we're done. I walked away, ignoring Ryder as he called out after me. Cameron noticed how upset I was and insisted on walking me home. But as soon as we got there, I knew something was wrong. The house was a mess. Furniture shoved around, broken items scattered on the floor. My parents were silently cleaning up the chaos. Mom, Dad, what happened? The debt collectors came. They said we have 3 days to pay everything or else. My mind raced. The amount was massive. Where could we even find that kind of money?
Don't worry, Danielle. I'll cover it.
Thank you, Cameron. I'll work hard to pay you back, I promise.
Actually, I need your help. I'm opening a bakery in Chicago, and I could really use a talented baker like you. Will you come with me?
Moving to another city, I didn't want to leave. But Cameron had just saved my family. I couldn't say no. Okay, but once the bakery is stable, I'm coming back. I still want to live with my parents.
Deal. We'll leave in 3 days.
3 days flew by. At exactly 7 a.m., Cameron pulled up in front of my house to pick me up. Just as I was about to step into his car, Ryder came running up.
Danielle, don't go with him. He's the one who sabotaged you. Stop spouting nonsense. Got any proof? I overheard him talking to the quality control manager. He told her to swap your ingredients, but I don't have solid proof yet. Please, Danielle, you have to believe me.
Enough! Cameron is my best friend. I trust him, and he'd never do that to me. Without another word, I got into Cameron's car, ignoring Ryder completely. What he said made zero sense. Why would Cameron hurt me? The car ride started off smooth, but after a while, Cameron pulled over to grab some food. I waited in the car for what felt like forever, so I decided to go find him. As I walked around, I saw one of the debt collectors coming out of an alley. Moments later, Cameron walked out from the same direction. The collector even bowed respectfully to Cameron before leaving. What the fudge was going on? Cameron spotted me.
Danielle, why are you out here?
You were taking forever, so I came to look for you. Do you know that guy?
I just gave him the money I promised to help your family. I didn't want to worry you, so I didn't mention it.
Cameron quickly ushered me back into the car, but something about the whole scene didn't sit right. My phone started buzzing non-stop. Missed calls and texts from Ryder begging me not to leave with Cameron. Ryder had never sounded so desperate before. Combined with what I'd just witnessed, my anxiety skyrocketed. Cameron, I'm not feeling well. Can we leave tomorrow instead?
We can't. The plane tickets are non-refundable.
No, I'm serious. I don't want to go today. Let me out!
Sit down and stay quiet. We're almost there.
Terrified, I quickly shared my location with Ryder and texted him for help. Suddenly, the car screeched to a halt, throwing me forward. Before I could react, Cameron snatched my phone, his face twisted with rage.
Stop messing with me, or you'll regret it.
The car then sped off like a rocket. So Ryder was right. You really did sabotage me, didn't you?
Well, there's no point in hiding it now. Yeah, it was me. I swapped your ingredients and set up those scammers to trap your dad.
But why?
Because I need you out of my life and my parents' lives.
What did I do?
3 years ago, the Wilsons adopted me because of those amazing pastries you made. They thought I baked them. Soon I'll inherit their entire company. Perfect, right? But then you showed up and caught their attention. They're even thinking about bringing you into the company. If that happens, my secret will get out and you'll ruin everything. I won't let that happen.
The kind, supportive Cameron I thought I knew was gone. In his place was someone manipulative and cruel. The car stopped in a remote, desolate area. Cameron yanked me out of the car, dragging me toward a group of thugs waiting nearby. Just as despair was about to swallow me whole, I saw flashing police lights and heard sirens blaring. 3 squad cars surrounded us. Ryder stepped out of one of them, and I nearly collapsed with relief.
You called the cops?
He tried to drag me back into the car, but I stomped hard on his foot. He let go of my arm and I sprinted toward Ryder, who pulled me into a tight hug. Cameron and the thugs were arrested on the spot. Cameron was charged with attempted kidnapping and faced the consequences of everything he'd done. As for me, the Wilsons extended an official invitation for me to join their company. Back home, our bakery teamed up with Ryder's family's bakery to create the biggest, most popular bakery on the block. I was sprinting through the woods, gasping for air. Glanced over my shoulder, just pitch black, but I could feel it. Something was out there, watching, chasing me. A flash of movement at the corner of my eye. There it was, darting between the trees, then perched on a branch up ahead, its glowing eyes locked on me under the pale moonlight. Who's there? I am not scared. I know karate, you know. No answer. What do you want from me? I tripped over a root, face planting into the ground. It had vanished. I scrambled to my feet. Gotta get out of here, and fast. Suddenly, chills crept down my spine. I could feel it behind me without even turning around. I tried to scream, but the sound got stuck in my throat as cold breath brushed the back of my neck. No, please! Then, a sharp, burning sting hit my neck. My vision blurred, my knees buckled, and everything faded to black. 18 hours earlier. I was slapping some jam on toast, rushing because the school bus would be here any second. Jam and bread are getting so dang expensive these days. Did I pack my biology book? Wait, maybe I already did. Did you even hear me? Your tuition's going up again. I swear, they're squeezing the life out of me. I don't even know why I'm paying for all this nonsense. I'm sorry, Aunt Martha. I promise when I graduate, I'll get a job and pay back every penny you spent on me. You won't have to worry about me anymore. You better. I'm not planning on dealing with you forever, you know. I choked down my dry toast and dashed out the door after saying goodbye. Oh, hey there. I'm Olivia. I've been putting up with Aunt Martha's nagging ever since my parents passed away years ago. I hopped on the school bus, found my usual seat, and stared out the window. The sky over Transylvania was all gray, with the mountains peeking through in the distance. This place was soaked in legends about vampires and supernatural stuff. Of course, I never bought into any of that. Another day of endless classes finally ended when the bell rang. I made my way to my locker, and as I fumbled with the lock, a friend bounced over, beaming. Hey, Olivia! You've got to come to the party tonight. It's up on the mountain, right behind the school. There'll be a ton of these before Halloween. Don't miss out. Before I could respond, she shoved a flyer into my hand and dashed off to join her friends. Mountain party tonight. Don't miss the fun before Halloween, where the creatures of the night come out to play. Sounded fun. I decided I'd wear my favorite dress tonight. Party season, here we come. I arrived at the party, lights twinkling everywhere. Everyone was already there, chatting and laughing. As I got closer, a few heads turned, and I could hear whispers spreading through the crowd. My friend from earlier ran up on me. Oh my gosh, you look amazing! Thanks. I joined the group and they started chatting with people I'd never really hung out with before. Turns out they were super nice and fun. I was so glad I came tonight. Then my phone buzzed in my pocket. Aunt Martha's name flashed on the screen. I had to step away to answer.
Olivia, where on earth are you?
I'm out, just doing some stuff. What's up?
I'm hungry and there's nothing left in the fridge. Get home and make dinner now.
Can't you just buy?
I don't have time to argue with you. Get home now!
She hung up, leaving me standing there with the phone still pressed to my ear. Guess it's time to turn back into Cinderella. I was ready to tell my friends I'd have to leave early, but suddenly, a cold gust blew through the trees, sending shivers down my spine. The temperature dropped instantly. I glanced around, feeling like someone was watching me from the shadows. Not far away, the party plunged into chaos as every light blinked out. Something deep inside me screamed, urging me to run for my life. I woke up in my familiar bedroom, but something felt different. Everything was sharper and clearer. I could hear the engine of a car passing down the street and even the soft flutter of a moth trapped in the ceiling light. I looked toward the window and my eyes locked onto something on the mountain in the distance, way farther than I should have been able to see. A deer standing on a rock ledge. A strange urge surged inside me. I was thirsty and hungry. Without thinking, I darted toward the window at an impossible speed. Ouch! What the? The moment sunlight hit my skin through the glass, a searing pain shot through me like 1,000 needles stabbing all at once. I stared at my hand, but the pain disappeared as quickly as it had come. The deer was gone. What just happened? Why did sunlight hurt so much?
Olivia!
Aunt Martha stormed into my room without knocking, her face red with rage.
I cannot believe you! I found you passed out on the porch last night after God knows what kind of craziness! What were you thinking getting that wasted?
I stared at her, barely hearing a word she said. My eyes fixated on the pulse in her neck, the blood flowing just beneath the surface. A fierce hunger hit me, twisting my stomach into knots. I clapped my hand over my mouth and turned away.
If you puke, you better clean it up!
When she finally left, I could breathe again. My phone buzzed with a notification from the school forum. Halloween party next week. Don't forget your vampire costumes. Vampires. The word made me freeze. All the signs were there. Heightened senses, fear of sunlight, and bloodlust. If this was real, my life as I knew it was over. I was bitten that night and turned into something else. Something monstrous. I had to find the one who did this to me, no matter what. Later that week, with the sky overcast, I slipped into class and quietly took my seat. I tried to act normal, even though every little sound felt like it was exploding in my ears. I buried myself in a book, trying to distract myself from the gnawing hunger with all these humans around me. Hey there! I looked up startled and saw the girl from the party, but she looked different now. More fierce, I guess? Sorry, I'm busy. I stood up quickly, but before I could leave, a heavy grip clamped down on my shoulder. She was fast, too fast for a normal person. I stared at her in shock, but she just gave me this sly, knowing smirk. You don't have to hide. We're the same, you know. The girl named Celine led me to a quiet spot behind the school. While I was still in shock at the revelation, she was a vampire too. But I was turned that night too. So you don't know who did this to us? She didn't answer, just stared off into the distance. Don't separate yourself. That'll only make you stand out as a vampire. Here, wear this amethyst bracelet. It'll keep you from burning in the sunlight. Why are you helping me? Aren't we in the same boat now? She was right. You're strong, Olivia. Really strong. That's a power not every vampire has. You know that, right? I blinked, remembering how I'd accidentally shattered the bathroom mirror with just a glance. Was I really more special than other vampires? In the days that followed, Celine taught me how to control my new instincts and powers, and we quickly became close. One afternoon, as we sat talking in the courtyard, a sudden chill crawled down my spine. But it was just a guy with dark hair and piercing blue eyes. I couldn't take my eyes off him. He was undeniably gorgeous. Oh my gosh, he's coming this way. What do I do, Celine? Wait, when did she disappear?
Mind if I sit here?
Sure, go ahead. My nerves instantly made me forget all my current worries.
I just moved here today. I'm Ethan.
Olivia, I can show you around.
No need. I just want to stay near you.
Huh?
I'm trying to avoid the bullies around here, you know? Walking alone makes you an easy target.
Oh, right. Well, with my superhuman strength now, I could easily protect him without breaking a sweat. But I needed to keep my powers hidden. As we talked, I found myself getting more and more drawn to him. Surprisingly, when I was around Ethan, I felt calm, like I didn't have to fight back the bloodlust. Could my feelings for him be growing so strong that I didn't want to hurt him? No, stop. Ethan is human. I can't let myself fall into this messy love. Later that day, I had to attend anatomy class, my worst nightmare ever since becoming a vampire. I sat in the back as far from the specimens as possible, trying to keep my head down, fists clenched in my lap, trembling. As the teacher went over the muscle groups, I couldn't take it anymore. My fangs were about to extend. I glanced quickly at Ethan. His eyes flicked towards mine, but his expression was unreadable. Calm, almost emotionless, like he was watching me fall apart. I need to go! Not waiting for permission, I stood up so fast that I knocked my chair over and dashed out. I found a secluded corner behind the storage cabinets, trying to catch my breath. Ethan's cold gaze scared me. If he knew the truth, would he be disgusted by me? Olivia! I whipped around to see Celine standing a few feet away. She had appeared so silently, like a ghost materializing out of thin air. You can't lose control like that! Not here! Celine led me up to the mountain behind the school. I hadn't been back to this place since that terrifying night. We finally stopped at a clearing where a small wooden cabin stood. This is my place. It's far from everyone. Then she pointed deeper into the forest. You can hunt here as much as you need. Plenty of wildlife, whatever you need to quench your thirst. I closed my eyes and tuned into every movement, a rabbit hopping nearby or a deer on the far side of the mountain. Then I sensed a rival presence, a tiger also stalking that deer. But I snapped out of it. I couldn't hunt like some predator. I don't want to be like this. This is the best way to satisfy your hunger and to grow stronger. The thought of it made my skin crawl the whole way back home. I barely noticed Ethan until I was just a few steps away from him. He smiled at me like he could read the chaos I was trying to hide.
I ran over to check on you. You left in the middle of class.
You shouldn't be here. I'm fine. You don't need to worry about me.
Don't do that, Olivia.
Ethan stepped in front of me, blocking my way into the house. I needed to do something to end this complicated relationship once and for all. I grabbed his shoulders and shoved him hard, sending him to the ground. You don't understand. I'm dangerous. That's it. Just go! Without looking back, I slammed the door and collapsed. It was a while before I heard him walk away. As much as I wanted to call him back, I knew I couldn't. That night, as I lay in bed, the memories of being bitten resurfaced in my mind. Everything had happened so fast, but the more I thought about it, the clearer it became. It was right outside Celine's cabin where I was bitten that night. Ever since she showed up, Celine seemed to know way too much about vampires, constantly praising my strength like she was obsessed. What if she wasn't just helping me? What if she turned me into a vampire for her own reasons? The thought made my head spin. Could Celine be the one who bit me? Anger and suspicion bubbled up inside me. If Celine had really turned me into a vampire, she had ruined my life. And now I needed to know the truth. At midnight, I snuck up the mountain alone. The forest seemed to come alive in the darkness, shadows flitting between the trees, and I could feel every shift in the air. I sensed eyes on me, but when I glanced around, it was only a flock of crows, their black wings slicing through the moonlight. Standing in front of Celine's cabin, I knocked on the door, but there was no answer. Peering through the window, I saw the room was empty. She wasn't home. Just as I turned to leave, a flicker of movement in the distance caught my attention. It wasn't the wind, and it wasn't an animal. I glided over the grass. As I got closer, the air grew thick with dread, and then my eyes locked onto something horrifying. Something I never expected to see. This is the final level, and once I beat it, I'll add another game to the list that Sadie the Undefeated has conquered. Nailed it! No surprise there. I am Sadie the Undefeated after all. Oh no, my laptop! Serves you right. Not funny. Can you stop with these pranks already? Oh, I can't. It's too much fun. Gosh, living with Madeline is unbearable. I bet she win first prize in a World's Meanest Sisters contest. And me? I'm Sadie, her little sister, and we're from San Jose. The story will begin as soon as you hit the like and subscribe button below. I swear, I was dubbed Sadie the Undefeated from the moment I was born. Obviously not because I could slay monsters in games back then. Everyone, try some cookies! Oh, my sweet Sadie. Knew from the start this girl would grow up to be bright and adorable. That's right, Sadie's such a good girl. You see, everyone adored me instead of my sister Madeline, who's 4 years older. Unlike me, Madeline was hard to approach. You'd rarely see her smile or talk more than a few words to anyone. And thus, she wasn't as close to our parents as I was.
Madeline is good too, and really smart. She scored perfectly on 3 math tests in a row and could even do 6th grade homework.
But she's still the sister I love most in the world, and I never want her to be sad. At 16, I started dreaming of becoming a game streamer, blending my passion for games with a chance to earn some extra cash. Around the same time, Madeline, after much hard work, received a 50% scholarship to study abroad in Australia. The whole family was overjoyed, and our parents promised to manage the expenses for her trip. However, trouble brewed. One day while I was on the roof preparing a "Congratulations on your Australian scholarship, Madeline" banner as a surprise, I accidentally slipped, and then…
The leg surgery was quite successful. However, she'll need to stay in the hospital for a few days for observation and further treatment. Listen, we're really sorry, but the surgery costs were quite high.
We might have to postpone your study abroad plans, Madeline.
From that moment on, our relationship flipped upside down. She hated me. At first, I didn't mind since it was just small signs. But then things escalated. Toothpaste replaced with dye, dog food mixed in my cereal, and I nearly lost a chunk of hair to a tape prank outside my door. Who else but Madeline could it be? Especially when I caught her red-handed trying to mess with my precious computer setup. Jesus, Madeline! Stop it right now! What the heck are you doing? I tried to wrestle the hose from Madeline, and soon the room looked like it had been hit by a tsunami. You did that on purpose, Madeline! Why are you suddenly treating me like this?
Nothing sudden about it. It's all your fault. Mom and Dad invest in a whole computer setup for you to be what? A game streamer? Then you pull some dumb stunt and end up needing surgery. All that money could have been for my study abroad.
So what? You want me to be crippled before you're satisfied? In the end, Madeline got a stern talking to from our parents and was grounded for a week. She refused any attempt at making up with me. I had no choice but to ignore Madeline and focus on becoming a legit game streamer. I kicked off my first live stream with the game I'm most confident in, and the results weren't half bad. One day, on my way home from school, I noticed a classmate looking puzzled at the balcony of an abandoned house. Oh no, your backpack's up there? What happened?
It was that witch Madeline and her gang of mean girls. The door's locked, so I can't go in to get it. Any ideas?
There was a big trash bin by the wall. I took a running start, jumped off it, and did a flip right onto the balcony.
Wow, that was impressive!
No biggie. Now, how do I get down? Beatrice and I hit it off and chatted a lot on the way home. Turns out she's a hardcore gamer too. Even crazier, she's Madeline's arch nemesis, constantly battling for the top spot in class tests. I spilled the beans about the drama with my sister.
What? That's outrageous! If she treats her own sister like that, no wonder…
Madeline wasn't always like this. I can't get it. Maybe everyone paying too much attention to me made her feel left out.
Sadie, you did nothing wrong. Madeline's just selfish. Forget about her. I know just the thing to cheer us up.
Beatrice then took me to her place. Lord, it was a castle! Smart, being a game streamer, and rich, Beatrice had it all. Instead of going inside, Beatrice led me to a garden shed.
Brace yourself, Sadie.
Oh my god, is this heaven? This setup must cost 10 times more than the one Madeline wrecked at home. Absolutely epic! From then on, I regularly trained with Beatrice and continued streaming. We were inseparable, became school celebs, recruited new crew members, and signed up for the school's esports team selection. Madeline was not thrilled.
Well, everything's just so easy for you, isn't it? Befriending a rich loser to take advantage, sitting around playing silly games all day, and still being idolized by kids.
What did you just say, Madeline? That's too much. I caught a glimpse of what looked like the upcoming semester's final exam paper among the scattered pages. Why would she have that? This incident got overshadowed by a world war that followed. Madeline fired the first shot by spraying vinegar in our gym shirts and dumping snails on our bikes. Beatrice was livid. We divided and conquered in retaliation. I changed Madeline's alarm clock while Beatrice planted a stink bomb in her locker. Madeline wouldn't back down. The next day, she spiked mine and Beatrice's lunch with laxatives and had her friends lock the nearest bathrooms. We had to dash across the schoolyard to the far-off toilets to avoid a public fireworks show.
Enough is enough! Sadie, I've got a plan to really embarrass her. Want to hear a juicy secret about your sister?
Beatrice had heard that Madeline cheated on recent tests with the help of a mean girl close to the exam setters. No way. Madeline's really smart. She wouldn't need to do that.
Just a facade. We need to expose her true face to the whole school.
Hold on, I need to talk to Madeline about this. I can't believe she'd really do that.
What's with you, Sadie? Why do you keep making excuses for Madeline when she treats you like dirt?
Because she's still my sister. This could ruin her reputation. I can't just blindly hurt her. Please, after the esports competition opening ceremony tomorrow, I'll talk to her. But then everything fell apart. At the tournament's opening ceremony, as our team's member introductions were displayed on the screen, the audience suddenly burst into laughter. Oh no, who did this? My photo was grotesquely edited and the info displayed was all twisted. The whispers and jeers about me spread through the hall. My head spun. I rushed to the control room and found Madeline!
You're crazy! How could you do this? Let go! You're the crazy one! Calm down!
I can't believe you hate me this much, Madeline! I should have never defended you! I grabbed the mic on the control desk.
Madeline is a cheater! I found out she had the upcoming final exam paper. That's not true! What the heck are you talking about?
You liar! Don't even try to deny it. I saw the final exam paper you hid in your books. One of your mean girl cronies is cozy with the exam setters and all your past tests were cheats. Maybe even your scholarship. Madeline slapped me in the face. It was the first time she ever did that since I was born. I swore to myself I'd never talk to Madeline again. That night, I stayed at Beatrice's, gaming all night long.
Sadie, I looked into what happened at the ceremony. It was a scheme by our rival team. Madeline didn't do it. Maybe she was there trying to ask the tech guys to turn off the projector.
Enough, Beatrice.
The exam thing too, Sadie. Madeline had found out who cheated in her friend group and was planning to report it to the principal with that paper.
I said enough! Sorry, I need to focus. I didn't want to think about any of that anymore. Time passed until the electricity in the basement suddenly cut out. Darkness enveloped everything. Beatrice? What's happening? Beatrice? Why do I smell something burning? My phone was nowhere to be found. It was right next to me a moment ago. I kept calling out for Beatrice, but no answer came. Panic set in alongside the acrid smell, making it hard to breathe.
Sadie! Sadie, are you in there? Sadie!
Was that Madeline's voice? Sounded like she was about to cry. Why would Madeline be here all of a sudden?
Sadie, hang in there! I'm trying to get in! I'm so sorry, Sadie! I should have never treated you like that! Please let nothing have happened to you!
A sliver of light peeked through the door. Perhaps Madeline and Beatrice were trying to pry it open from the outside. I'm here! I'm okay! Let me help! I grabbed the edge of the door and pulled with all my might. Seconds later, the door flung open and Madeline rushed in to hug me.
Oh my gosh, Sadie! Are you okay?
Madeline, why are you here?
Beatrice called me. She said something about her basement having an electrical issue and you were trapped. Hey, you rich fool. Built a modern basement with no emergency exit? What's the point of being smart then?
Wow, that's… hold on, I don't get it. Beatrice. Okay then, I was just surprised. Madeline, I thought you really hated me.
How could I? You're my only sister, Sadie. I stupidly envied the attention everyone gave you. How could I forget that you're the one who always supported me no matter what? I was awful, Sadie.
No, Madeline, I was awful for bad-mouthing you at the ceremony. I'm sorry. You know what? To me, you'll always be the best sister ever, forever. So it turned out Beatrice orchestrated the basement trap so Madeline and I could reconcile. She sure is full of surprises. But luckily, thanks to Beatrice's wild idea, I now have two sisters I cherish. One is my teammate conquering the esports competition, and the other cheering loudly for me from the stands.